this place is really kicking me in the wotsits at the moment. Right, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do to buy a bite at the moment. We really need this one. I've left one rod out and it is absolutely torn off. Oh yeah, ain't a bad one. Get in the net, yes! Just come off. How nice is that? Oh, he's the nuts nut. Redemption. Session maker that. Swim into that net. Yes! Well, join me on the banks of Edwards Lake. I'm over at Norton Disney, and this lake is one of the exclusive bookable venues. But there's some very, very big carp in here. And that is what attracts me to this place. Now, it's not the first time that I've been here. I did come late November 2024. So let's take a little look at how I got on then. Weird angle, don't really want to go over it. Well, we're getting on for late afternoon now, and this is a beautiful lake to be chilling out on. It really is. You could literally hear a pin drop. It is stunning, and there's no one here to bother me other than the cameraman. But yeah, we're getting on for sort of late afternoon. All three rods are out now, and I'm feeling relatively confident. I'm on carp. I've seen two more fish show not far off that middle rod, sort of 20 yards off it. And there's definitely carp in the area. So yeah, I'm going into the night, as I say, quietly confident. Spots wise, that right hand rod is on a sort of a deeper silty channel with loads of weed surrounding it. I have managed to catapult bait around it. It's only 40 yards out, so I managed to put a little mixture of 10mm Pro Stim over the top with some of the house pellet as well. And they were really soaked up in hot chorizo just to give them a little bit more oomph. So yeah, really happy with that right hand rod. The middle rod is also on a lovely spot. Sort of behind the spot is a real raised sort of gravel shelf. Really glowing gravel. You can actually see it through the Polaroids. Apologies, people are messaging me. So it's really gravelly, and then there's a band of weed, and again it slopes off into some lovely silt, and that is right near where I saw the fish, and I've been able to catapult baits sort of around that as well. Those two rods are on pop-ups. That's on a Northern Special, pink Northern Special, with a load of almond goo over the top, and that one's on more of a food bait pop-up to match the Pro Stim. And then the left-hand rod, that's in some deeper water. That's in 13 foot of water, on some really fine sort of silt with the odd fleck of gravel in it, and I've put a wafter on that one of the wafting halibut pellet hook baits. So yeah, all three are set and ready on beautiful spots. I just need the carp to get their heads down now, but it's stunning over here. It's so quiet, and yeah, we're gonna have a lovely evening. So let's see what happens. Good morning. I am deep in thought at the moment whilst watching the water, because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do to buy a bite at the moment. Nothing occurred at night time. I say nothing. At around 10 o'clock, while Joe and I were hovering over the rods, had a real sort of twitchy, well, what we both thought was a take, sort of bobbing pulled up to the top, dropped, and then Kent went back up again and sort of held, picked the rod up, nothing there. Hook point was totally fine, so we just put it down to a savage liner really. But that was it. Dead quiet in the night, heard the odd fish sort of spread around the lake, but having woke up at first light this morning, I'd seen nothing at all. About 10 minutes ago, saw a very small fish sort of down in that bay, but other than that, it's been really, really quiet. And I'm racking my brains thinking, do I have a recast? Maybe sort of the odd spom here and there just to try and kick things into gear, but I think I'll just be doing it for the sake of it. I think I need to be patient. The rods are well spread. There's nothing telling me to move or anything like that. So I think it's just a case of being patient at the moment and keep my eyes on the water. If they start showing elsewhere, I may move a rod. But for now, I think I'm going to sit on them till lunchtime, and then I'll have a recast, put a couple of spoms out, a bit of extra bait. Yeah, just got to sit on my hands at the moment, I think. Right, decided I'm going to have a little bit of a recast. That middle rod I did cast at night time. Although I did get a lovely drop and everything, it's always nice to refresh it in the daytime. So I'm actually going to add a little tiny PVA bag of pellets this time. This is actually house pellets, what they feed them in here. So I've just put a tiny little sort of stocking mesh bag of pellet. I'm just going to nick that on the end of the spinner, get it back out on the spot. Hopefully, just to give the little spot a little bit of life. A few pellets around it. Let's see. So I thought I'd chat through the rig that I have been employing on this session. Well, the rigs that I've been employing on this session so far. There's nothing new here. This is a pretty conventional spinner rig presentation. For those of you that have seen my films, I use this rig ever so much. But I have made a slight tweak in that I'm now employing a crank hook. Ever since the underwater film that I did for Cyprography a while back, I noticed that the crank hooks were incredibly difficult for them to deal with. In fact, the one pickup I had when using the crank nailed it straight away. So I have been employing it ever since, and they've been very, very successful. So the reason I've chosen spinner on 2 rods is that the bottom's a little bit softer. It's still very clean, but it's sort of softer silt. So I feel like I can get away with fishing a pop-up on that. The left-hand rod, however, is fished on slightly cleaner bottom, a little bit like this swim actually, a bit of silt, flecks of gravel in it, and as a result I have opted for a balanced bait on that one, more of a bottom bait presentation. So I have used a slightly different rig. As we're at Norton, I thought I would have a bit of an experiment with a shot on the hook. It's not one that I've used before, but I thought it would be right to do it over at Norton. I'm not a fan generally of chopping and changing my rigs, but I have seen the success of that rig, so I thought I'd give it a little go over here. If I catch on it, you never know, I might use it for the foreseeable. So we'll go through how to tie that now. So to tie the rig, you will need a crank hook. I like to use the Kamakuras, and of course over here it's barbless, so I do squash that barb. I then get some shrink tubing, pop that onto the shank before following it with the spinner swivel. I will then blob the shrink tube just to get it nice and shrinked down onto that spinner swivel. Next up, I place a hook bead onto the hook, followed by a small hook ring swivel, followed by another bead. You then need to create the shot on the hook. You lasso some dental floss onto the shank before squeezing a split shot on, using crimps to really squeeze it down nice and tight. You then need to blob the tag end. After that, you need to crimp on your boom material as shown. And finally, the hook bait goes on. I simply slide that onto some dental floss. It's a halibut pellet hook bait, blob the tag end, and you are ready to go. So, dooming it up a little bit this morning. We did our second night and I've got nothing to show for it, which is gutting really, because there's some lovely carp in here. The bailiff actually told me that 1 in 2 carp have been 30 pounds of late, so there's some real big fish in here, but it's never a walk in the park. You know, there's just over 60 fish in here, so it's not overly stocked, but still feel a bit defeated, like I should have had one. A few carp have showed this morning, so I have actually leapfrogged my right hand rod over my left and put a rod in the bay here. But we've got like an hour and a half left of the session and it just looks bleak. It's that sort of autumn changeover period, if you like, where we're just getting the odd first few frosts, like warm in the day, cold at night. I've always found it a tricky time of year, but you never know. We've still got an hour and a half, and there is a lake directly behind me, and I've been hearing fish after fish show over there throughout the night. So I don't want to come all this way and go home empty-handed. So if nothing happens after an hour and a half on here, I am going to jump over to the other lake, because I have been hearing carp over there. There's definitely more carp in that lake, and it'd be nice to get a couple of bites, or even a bite. So you never know. I'm going to give this an hour and a half. We might be saved by the bell. If not, I'm going to jump on the lake behind me, fling a few solid bags out. You never know, we might see a fish in front of the camera. So got to stay positive and stick the coffee on and just hope and pray for the next hour and a half. one surely. Well, we are in. Quite nice to get a bite after 48 hours of nothing. Just flick some solid bags out on here to some showing fish, and away it's gone. I'm a little bit out of breath because there's some like sunken branches, twigs and what have you over there, and the fish was kiting straight into them, so I had to leg it backwards. It's just gone over the other rod, under the other rod here. Oh, he's got a nice row of scales on him. Right, come on in, mate. You must be ready now. Come on in. In that net. Yay! We haven't blanked. It's actually got some lovely scales on the side of it. Cool. Cool. Wow! Look at him. How nice is he? Absolute corker. Little solid bag in position for 45 minutes, I guess, and off it ramped. And that is probably going to be it for this session. Unfortunately, we didn't do it over on Edwards, but I can't wait to get back because there's a lot of big fish in there. And although it didn't happen on this trip, I definitely want to make a return. But yeah, a lovely finish to the session. Beautiful fish. Upper doubles, I guess. He might even scrape a 20 pounder, not sure. But yeah, beautiful fish. Time to go home and have some lunch. See you later, mate. Yippee! So the last time that I fished here was mid to end of November time, and the weather was extremely different. It was very, very cold. In fact, it was probably the first week of that cold snap as we were going into the winter period. There were northeasterly winds, and the activity was very, very different. We saw the odd fish at night time, or heard the odd fish at night time, but for some reason they just didn't dip down. I didn't feel like I was in with much of a chance, you know. It was very, very cold at night, and although I feel like I fished really well, the fish just didn't dip down and do what I wanted them to do. Now I fished a multitude of different areas. I did fish over in that corner, in this corner, I fished the deeper water, I tried some of the shallow water, and for whatever reason it just didn't happen. I just don't think they were feeding, you know. It was really clear skies at night and very, very cold. On this session, it's very different. They're clearly a lot more lively. I did get down here last night and I heard fish crashing during the night time. And this morning, I was also seeing fish show, particularly over the shallower water. There's like a big, long, I don't know if you call it a road, but like a big, long gravel bar out in the middle there. And it shelves right up to sort of 7 to 9 foot, a lot shallower. And then off the sides of that, it goes down to like 17 foot. So there's some really, really prominent features. I've decided to put a couple of rods on the shallower spots, feeling like, you know, with this nice warm weather, they might be going into that shallower water. It's relatively clear, a little bit of gravel, the odd little bit of weed. So yeah, I've got a couple of rods on that. And I'm just going to keep my eyes peeled, really. It's springtime, the fish are on the move. You know, if we see one on the edge, we might have a little go. But the key is going to be keeping my eyes open and continue to learn this place. Because although I learnt a bit last time, I didn't see a lot, even though I tried. But this time is completely different. They're lively. So yeah, all eyes on the water, keep on my toes, and hopefully I'll be able to winkle out one of these giants. Okay, so it's around mid-morning time now, and the rods have been pretty motionless so far, but I have just had a little wander into that shallow bay round the corner there, because I've seen a fish there this morning, and it is extremely coloured over there. It's definitely carp. So I'm going to go and have a little go. I'm not going to thrash it to a foam. The lake is extremely weedy, so I'm just going to flick a light lead out into the colour with a choddy, naked choddy, and I know that it's going to be presented. So yeah, rather than absolutely hammering it with leads and spooking the fish that are clearly there, I could just put a little light choddy in there, and hopefully we can nick one. It is a method that works really well in the spring. So yeah, got a bright yellow northern on the end. I'm not going to put any bait around it, just a single hook bait into the colour. Let's hope that a carp trips up. Okay, so typical spring fishing, that plan didn't work. I have actually just been up the other end, and because I'm so high here, I can see sort of down onto the lake, and there are herds of carp up the other end. I reckon there's 30 odd carp up there, but they are just under the surface. It's really warm, and it's no surprise, if I'm totally honest with you. So I'm going to reel this rod in that we tried stalking with earlier, because I don't think there are that many carp left in this bay. So I say that, I've just seen a swirl actually over there, but there's definitely loads of carp down the other end now. They move quick in the spring, so I'm going to move with them. Get out! Get out! So we're just getting into lunchtime now, and it is scorching hot, especially for April. And I've managed to get one of the zigs out there with pretty minimal disturbance, and I've also flicked a choddy just in the edge as well, just over some low-lying weed. So I'm definitely on carp. Just a few minutes ago I saw one sort of boil on the surface, so I think zig is probably the best course of action at the moment. I put a 10-foot zig out there in 12 to 14 foot of water, which should be about right, I think. Just a little liner. Yeah, I'm happy. It's super hot. It's actually a beautiful day to be out fishing. Just need a carp to go with it now. Right, so the conventional zigs don't seem to have done the business. Part of that might be that the lake is very up and down, and I haven't zapped a marker around or anything like that, so I don't know the exact depths. So I did guess them a little bit according to the drop. I just don't think I'm precise enough. From what I've been seeing out there, the fish are just under the surface. So the only way to be ultra precise is to stick on a zig float. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to put a zig float on, bring it down a couple of feet below the surface, and hopefully I'll be a lot more precise. yourself out. So easy. Come on. Yeah. Ah. Just come off. Sorry to swear. Was I over eager with that? But it was coming out the weed slowly, just as it was edging out. It's when it fell off. Little hooks, little size 8 barbless hooks. Don't make it easy. Onwards and upwards. Right, so although we were down there for a few hours, unfortunately, after losing that one, I had no more action. So I've come up this other end, and there's fish up here. So I've had to keep on my toes. I've reeled the rod in, and yeah, I've come up this end. So I'm just going to get the little zig float ready. I can see a few sort of bow waves and backs out of the water. Flick it out there, 1 foot or 2 under the surface. Probably start at 2 foot under the surface, and yeah, let's see what happens. We're on fish. Right, the rod is out. I've been dotting it up and down this bank a little bit, mainly because I've been struggling to get a drop here, and it's very important with zig floats that you get a drop, because if you don't and it lands in weed, oh, there's loads of fish here. One just off the end of the rod tip. Yeah, if you don't get a drop, quite often the float won't pop up. But I finally found a little area that I'm happy with. And this carp here, they haven't spooked. Probably took me a couple more casts than I wanted to, but we're rocking now. The zig float pops up. I've got it a few foot under the surface, and I can see bow waves coming back into this bay as well. So yeah, I need to sit on my hands for a bit and let it settle back down. We've got to be in with a chance. Got to be. Right, well that's me lot for the afternoon, well evening. It's about 6:30 now, and that's the zig rig in. Unfortunately, didn't happen up this end. Still feeling a little bit gutted from that loss earlier. It owed me a fish, this place. When I hook one, it falls off. But there you go, that's fishing. I'm now going to go back over to the bivvy and get the rods out for the night. I think I'm going to fish sort of the shallower sort of gravel area out there, which is about 8 foot, 9 foot, something like that. I'm going to fish 2 rods on that, and then I'm going to fish 1 rod in the deeper water on the silt out here, just to see what happens, because there's been plenty of fish around here. So yeah, that's the zigs in. I'm sure we'll have another go on the zigs tomorrow, but for now we're going to go and get the rods out on the bottom. Well, good morning. I wish I could say it was a very good morning. The only good thing about this morning is I'm still alive. No, it's been quiet all night. and I don't know why. There are fish showing this morning. The rods are on spots over bait, and nothing has happened. I don't know whether it's the heat. The fish are actually spawning on the lake behind. There's been no signs of that on here, but I'm just wondering whether it's going through their minds a little bit, which can sometimes put them off, but they're certainly not spawning, you know. There's nothing thrashing around at all. They're like proper shows. So plan of action, I've got a couple of spindly bits of line you'll see coming down the bivvy there. I'm going to get on the zigs again, but the plan is to get the zigs in before the fish get there and before the fish get up in the water. So yeah, I've been busy tying zigs up. I'm going to dot around like I did yesterday. Fish a rod dotted all along the margins and just keep leapfrogging it into different areas, keeping my eye on where the fish are moving and try and get on them all day. I'm even going to nip out and get some floaters this morning. I'm going to reel in, leave Joe here, nip over and get some floaters because that could be an option as well. I've got to try all sorts because this place is really kicking me in the whatsits at the moment. Should have caught one yesterday, lost it. And I really need some redemption. There's some big carp out there, but it ain't happening at the moment. I really need to make it happen today. So yeah, zigs, surface. Yeah, I'm hoping for something today. Well, just as I was contemplating going over to the zigs, or just as I was tinkering with the rods, I'd left one rod out and it is absolutely torn off. I just had this position sort of on that gravelly area in the middle, and yeah, it's ripped off. I was probably only 10 minutes until I brought it in to go zig fishing, which is pretty mad, isn't it? I'm out of breath because I'm pretty excited and feeling the pressure a little bit because this lake has kicked me in the teeth so far. God, it's grating on the weed. It's very weedy, this lake. You can hear it. Just grating, grating, grating. I've had to really play it quite hard throughout the fight so far to try and keep it up in the water. I could see the big balls of weed on it. The fish is on the surface out there. Probably just going to jump into that next peg because that's where the net is. We really need this one. Get the old cheesy feet out. Oh yeah, ain't a bad one. Ain't a bad fish at all. Come on mate, it's a lovely scaly one. Oh. I love it over here, even though it's been an absolute a-hole of a lake to me. I do love it because it's a challenge. He's lovely. He is lovely. Oh, we don't like the net. Come on. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Big ball of weed on the end. Go on then, keep coming. Swim into that net. Yes! Oh, wow. That took far too long. Oh man, that's a nice carp as well. We are off the mark on Edwards and we still have a night to go. But I was feeling the pressure, to be honest. That's a lovely carp, a really long linear that. Ah, honestly, what a lovely carp. And yeah, I definitely feel like I've earned that one. I've been working my socks off on this lake. Yeah, brilliant. Let's have a look at her. Walker, isn't it? God, he He's the nuts, mate. Check this fish out. Oh my days. How nice is that? I am so chuffed to catch this fish. I've worked so hard. Yeah, the last three nights I guess we've done on here now, maybe 4 thinking about it, including the other session. And yeah, that is the result of hard work and graft. They've really mucked me about, these fish, but finally I've landed one, and just look at it. That is an absolute wood carving. I think I'm going to have a little swap over to zigs. Even though I've caught this off the bottom, it is so hot today. So I'm going to go and have a little go on the zigs, and then I'll be putting a hook bait back on the spot for tonight. But yeah, that is serious mirror carp. Very chuffed. Look at that. What a great carp. Go on in, buddy. Let's give you a little tickle and then you'll go, won't you? Go on in over the weed. Go on in. There she goes. Lovely carp. Head straight into the weed. Go on, mate. You power through it. Go on. That'll do. Off she goes. Lovely carp. Session maker, that. We don't need to be 35 pound. That was an absolute pearler. Like something out of Oxford. Right, what you're looking at might look a little bit weird, what I'm doing with this zig, but at this time of year, sometimes there's sediment in the water. What I'm worried about is that sediment picking up on my hook link and like making it really obvious in the water column. If there's obviously bits of floating weed and all that attached to my hook link, it's not going to look very natural as it's popping up off the bottom. So yeah, I'm putting the float up to the surface and just giving it sort of a few yanks to try and sort of free the bits of sediment that might be on the line. There might be nothing on it, but there's no harm in giving it a tweak. So that's what I'm doing now. I've got my binoculars so I can see the hook bait, and I'll just reel it down till I see that hook bait go, and then it's a case of just placing it what depth I want it. So yeah, giving it a few tweaks now. Just going to bring the float back down, and yeah, we'll be fishing again. Well, the zig rod has been out for a couple of hours now. It's been pretty quiet. I've seen a few fish sort of cruising along these margins, but not the numbers that I thought there was going to be, or like there was yesterday. I do feel though that the morning bite time is going to be this sort of side of the lake. I did get up early this morning and I saw several shows over here, far more than any other part of the lake. So it's the same conditions. I am actually going to move base camp and sleep under this canopy tonight and just dot a couple of rods along that margin in nice and close. There's some lovely little spots there, exactly where I saw the fish this morning. I think that's going to be my best practice for tonight. But for the rest of the day, you know, I've got loads of the day to go. I'm just going to keep dotting that zig around. I may move up into the corner. I may move sort of halfway along here. I'm not sure yet, but I think I'm just going to try it sort of an hour at a time. Keep dotting that zig along the margin. If I see some carp, I'll get the zig straight on it. And just keep trying different spots, because I feel like if I get the zig float in the right area where there's a group of carp, I will get a bite. So yeah, next few hours I'm going to be a bit of jumping Jack Harry, moving it around a little bit, and hopefully we can nick another bite. But yeah, I'll be doing the night in here, that's for sure. And yeah, you never know, there might be another carp to show you, but I'm pretty chuffed with that one, to be honest with you. It'd be nice to get a real big one, wouldn't it? solid this. Was coming. Oh, solid. Absolutely solid. So solid. Well, we've been moving around all day. Finally, we've had a bite on the zig. But unfortunately, it's found solid weed almost instantly. I'm putting pressure on it, but it's just not budging at all. Okay, mate. Well, that is an afternoon of complete and utter carnage. I've been dotting a rod around all day with a zig, and I've actually ended up where I started. The rod rattled off and immediately it was into a solid, thick weed bed. So I had to call for some help, and that help was Scotty Boy, one of the bailiffs here. He came down with a boat, and it actually ended up a bit of a three-man job. So I don't know how much of the fight Joey got on film, but that is the result of a fight. A beautiful, beautiful mirror, probably upper 20s, I reckon. Who cares? That is one beautiful, beautiful looking carp. And we've still got 24 hours to go. So I'm going to switch over to the bottom bait rods now for the night. And yeah, we might even have a cider tonight because I've got a couple from my bogey water. Oh, let's do that again. Sorry, mate. Ready? He's going back up the bank, look. See you later, mate. Right, now I've had the fish, I'm in a bit of a race against time. I need to go and get the rest of my kit, and then I need to get moving because I'm going to sleep in the hut tonight, and I'm going to dot 3 rods along here just in the margins where they were showing this morning. So yeah, nets back together. I need to get a move on. Rig number 2 being tied up now. I'm actually going to go all out on the bottom tonight, as in I'm not fishing pop-ups. I'm going to fish slow sinking baits. Say slow sinking, pretty heavy baits on the bottom, just like I caught that fish on earlier. That was actually on a pink northern earlier, balanced right out so that it sat on the lake bed, not off the hook, actually on the lake bed. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do with all 3 rigs tonight. As you'll see, I'm fishing just like little combis, fluorocarbon to some slip D braid, nice soft supple section, and then a stiff section to kick the hook bait away on the cast. It's a real nice way of doing it. And like hook baits wise, I only actually take pop-ups. I don't take wafters and all that malarkey. I find that actually by drilling just a little hole in the Northern Specials, I can add a little bit of putty in there and I can balance it exactly how I want it, which is not wafting up off the hook. I want the hook bait to be actually sitting on the lake bed, and by putting putty in there, it gives it that extra weight so it can sit on the bottom just off of the hook. So yeah, I'm on to my second rig now. 2 more to do, and then I'm going to get the rods out. The rods are finally out, and I've got to admit, it was quite frustrating getting the rods out tonight. There's a lot of weed in the edge there. So I did have to plonk a lead around a little bit, but eventually I've found a few clear spots. I've managed to put a few handfuls of bait over the top as well. But it has been a manic session. I am shot to bits. I just said to Joe, the cameraman, that I don't remember eating much today. I think I had a tin of ambrosia rice pudding, that was it. And we've just been on it. I feel absolutely shattered, but we've had a couple of carp. So I've had some redemption at Edwards, and we've got the night to go as well. It was a beautiful evening. The flies are just buzzing about on the surface, and there's definitely going to be a few carp showing soon. So yeah, it's time for some dinner. It's really late, I'm starving, and hopefully I'll have a big one to show you in the morning. Well, last night didn't quite go according to plan. Woke up this morning, motionless bobbins, and I can't help but feel they didn't actually come out of this bay all night. So best laid plans and all that, I thought they'd come out of here, and they didn't. So I've got up really early this morning and I've headed straight over to this bay. And my ploy is a zigrig again, but today I'm going to fish it slightly differently. I'm actually going to go a little bit lower in the water than I did yesterday. Although the carp are cruising about a foot or so under the surface, yesterday I tried putting it right in their faces, like a foot under. Today I'm going to fish 3 foot under, feeling like the carp are going to take it sort of just below them rather than right in their faces where they might be able to spot the line and stuff. So yeah, I'm going to fish them 3 foot under today. I only got till lunchtime, but it looks good. You know, it's really hot again. Let's see if the old zig rigs can work again. Come on now, mate. Big old ball of weed on it. It's absolutely scorching hot. They're up on the top. It's only like 9:30, something like that. They're right up on the surface. Get in the net, yes! 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 Oh, that'll do. How about that for an absolute corking Edwards mirror carp? Honestly, the stamping here of carp is amazing. They are beautiful dark fish, big apple slice scales all over it. An absolute cracker that couldn't resist that zig rig just 3 foot below the surface. If that is my last one, I've had an amazing trip over at Edwards, and I would say I've had my redemption. Go on then, my beauty. You are a cracker. See you later. Mega, love it. Redemption. Well, we are nearing the end of the session. There's about 10 minutes to go, and I'm not sure I'm going to catch anything else, but I have definitely redeemed myself over at Edwards Lake. 3 fish, 1 loss, and they were 3 incredible looking dark mirrors. So yeah, I'll be leaving with a huge grin on my face. What have I learned? Well, the past session that I did on here, I didn't learn a great deal because there wasn't a lot to learn. Nothing really happened. On this session, I've learnt that the carp are driving Ferraris. By that I mean they an half move around this lake. It's small lake syndrome, really. You cast out, you might nick a bite, they all end up the other end. And this has just happened constantly throughout this session. I've been wandering around this lake. I don't know how many laps I've done of this lake. I don't know how many different swims I've fished, but it's been a lot. They move all the time. So what I've learned is to keep on your toes on a lake like this. And yeah, it can really pay off. 3 beautiful carp and 1 very happy Jimmy.